All right, so thank you everybody to tuning into our talk here tonight. We're going to be discussing a very important thing for us as chiropractors. We have two chiropractors and a nurse, so we're going to be kind of tackling our topic today from a unique perspective from people that not only experience it but deal with people as a living that experience our topic today, which is going to be stress. Okay, so let's roll right into it. Once again, thank you for tuning in tonight. So, stress, kind of a big deal in our lives. We hear it from many different angles, and from physical stress, emotional stress, and it's something that, in all honesty, it never makes anything better in any way. If you have something that's going on, then stress is definitely going to make things worse. So we thought that this month would be an interesting month to kind of roll into stress and to have a good topic as we talk about coming back into school, people that have kids that may be going for the first time. I know tuning into Facebook, I had a lot of friends that are kissing their kids to school and stressed out because it was their first day of school on the bus, and a lot of them cried because the kids didn't really look back when the bus was pulling away, so there's a little bit more stress. But on the other side of that too is that we have, as adults, if we're going to school, we're going to post-secondary, there's going to be stress there too. And on top of that, well, not getting very nice of the last week or so. It's been pretty cool, and the temperature's changing, which we know means that less sunlight and cold weather on its way. I hate to be the bearer of bad news, but that's kind of how it's going to go. So, stress is kind of one of those things where, especially as everything piles on and you have so much more to do, you kind of get that feeling, and it kind of makes you feel a little bit crazy. Kind of makes you feel like you're losing your mind, you're not getting in control. But at the same time, stress can be a lot less obvious too. So here's a really good visualization that I use whenever I'm talking about stress. And a lot of people say, like, you can't really see stress. Well, here's a perfect example. This is Big Bill before and after his time as president of the United States. That's an 8-year difference, and that to me looks like a 15-year difference. We got our old friend George here, and same type of thing. That 8 years was not very pleasant to him. And then most recent is Obama. These are really good examples of people under very stressful positions, and you can see the toll it takes on their body. So I'm going to introduce our main speaker of the day here. I got the pleasure of meeting Dr. Scott Maybank just actually a few weeks ago. He met somebody who I'm good friends with, and she introduced us, and we got to sit and nerd talk about chiropractic and all the fun stuff. But Dr. Maybank is originally from Edmonton, and he worked as a professional dancer in Canada and Australia for approximately 10 years, and is a high-level dancer. And during this time, he experienced chiropractic and how it greatly benefited his performance and health. And upon retiring from the stage, so going, I'm going to hang up the dancing shoes, he decided to pursue a chiropractic education in New Zealand. And recently, he graduated, and has been since working in Garnell Chiropractic since May of 2016. So Dr. Scott here is going to tell us a lot about, well, stress. So go ahead, Scott, introduce yourself.
All right. Thanks so much, Brett. The feeling is mutual. It was great to meet you just a couple weeks ago. Yeah, like you said in the introduction, I'm a retired dancer, I guess you'd say. And now I'm working as a chiropractor outside of Garneau Chiropractic. And so for today, we're going to be talking about stress. So what that is exactly. And now what I think a lot of people forget about stress is that it comes down to what your brain perceives, right? Like if you're swimming in the ocean and you've never seen a shark, and a shark goes by, you're like, oh, it's just a big fish, it doesn't matter. But if you have, it'll change that swim for you. So stress is essentially a relationship between our perception of our environment and how we respond to it. And that can be seen as a pretty powerful thing. So as an old kind of animal, we're about 25,000 years old, let's say. Whenever there was a threat in our environment, we were kind of given three choices. We could change our environment through destroying the threat, so that would be your fight response. You can change your environment by running, or you would freeze and let that threat pass through. All three of these options change your environment, and then your stress drops. It's sort of a warning system. So you fast forward 25,000 years, and now what kind of would elicit that stress response is very different. Everything from having an aggressive email, a bill, room, looking at a screen, yet your heart rate will go and you'll get angry, and these things will physically affect you. And it isn't just negative things. It's not just getting cut off in traffic. Life has a lot of positive things that involve stress as well. For example, if you see someone who is desirable, or someone who is in marketing or something like that, there's a stress response, and it's actually called limerence. So basically, what that means is it's the person. If you see your crush, or you see your husband or loved one after a long period of time, you're actually in a state of heightened place as well. So stress you're in love, and you can also be quite fearful. So there's some interesting things that does to our bodies, right? So it's how our brain interprets our environment, and how our bodies respond. So basically what happens when we're experiencing a stress response physically, you're going to have, generally, our bodies are going to gear up biochemically to handle either destroying the threat, leaving the threat, or freezing. And that goes through each system of our body. So first up, you're going to have your pupils are going to dilate. They're going to try to take in more light. They're going to want to see more of the environment. The blood across the top of your skin is going to reduce. So you're going to get that kind of white, that clammy feeling in your hands, and people look quite pale. As your circulation is drawing closer to the organs and closer to the muscles, your liver is going to release more sugar into the system, so you have lots of energy. Your heart rate's going to increase, so you have more blood pumping through the system. Your digestion is going to shut off, and your breathing rate is going to deepen. So you see people who are stressed out, they go. So I think if you've ever seen a horror movie, this is a really good example of what being in a stress response is like. So physically you have these changes, so your body can best adapt to that stress. The downside is that it also affects our brains. So if you've ever been in an argument with someone, stressful situation, but you think of all the really good comebacks and things you should have said after the argument, it's because that stress response shuts off your frontal lobe a bit, and it doesn't allow you to make clear choices or decisions. This is why people say things you say things you don't mean. The other thing is, if you have watched horror movies, you'll see that people struggling to get the keys into the car, and you're saying just put the keys in the car and drive away, but they can't, and they're dropping things. And it's because of that adrenaline in their system, and because they can't think straight. So stress really affects how we make decisions. And when it comes to relationships, this is important. They say don't go to bed angry, and that sort of thing. So stress is it has a few different levels. It isn't just kind of running away from tigers and avoiding bad traffic. It's with relationships as well, and what creates that response, because it'll change the way your brain operates with it. So it's a big important topic. It's sort of part of human beings. And unfortunately, stress is kind of like the weather. The weather's only bad if you don't have an umbrella or you don't have a winter coat. Otherwise, it's sort of fine. Or sunscreen, for example. Ideally, to live a stress-free lifestyle isn't really realistic. You go live on the mountain and meditate and, become vegan or something. It's not going to allow you to participate in a lot of the things that you like to do or live in society. So basically what you want to think about is, how can you handle stress better? What can you do in your day? Because it's going to happen. It's like the weather. You're going to get those emails. You're going to miss that parking spot. People are going to be late. And it's how your body perceives those threats and how your brain is managing to process that. And so that kind of brings us to, it kind of comes down to how well prepared you are. And the three things that I promote, certainly through Garner Chiropractic, is honestly chiropractic care, physical activity, exercise. It doesn't necessarily have to be gym time, but something physically active, and having great nutrition. So basically what those three elements do is they allow your body to have a great source of fuel through the nutrition. Having physical activity will physically change those stress hormones in your body. They're going to allow your body to process and adapt to stress more efficiently. And then chiropractic care, because that actually creates full balance within the whole body unto itself and allows your body to adapt better. And with those three things in a preparatory way, obviously cleanup is fine, but ideally you want to utilize those before you're injured, before you're going on a big trip, before you're doing something, you're introducing a new stress to your life. It's a really wonderful place to be. You give yourself a lot of resources, nutrition-wise, activity-wise, and health-wise with chiropractic and physical activity. So the other thing that's good to be aware of is stress isn't just someone yelling at you. It's actually your body experiences stress through chemical, physical, and emotional means. So emotional would be the yelling. Physical would say, well, I got to move house, but I haven't lifted anything all month. And then you're trying to move furniture, you're changing environment. And chemical, which is essentially the foods we eat. And our body's always trying to help us. It's an intelligent system. Like an example, I mean, it's Welcome Week right now at the university. So I see a lot of young people out celebrating not living in small towns and being away from their parents. And so you'll sometimes see them drink too much alcohol and they'll throw up. And now as gross as that is and as uncomfortable it is to vomit, it's actually a really positive health response. Because if that person's body wasn't throwing up that excess alcohol, they would be potentially blood poisoned and their liver wouldn't have enough enzymes to process it. So it's a weird thing to think about, but throwing up is actually a very positive response that your body is doing. But that's a chemical stress. That's a huge chemical stress on your body. And it's not just alcohol and smoking. It comes down to the types of food you ingest and how many nutrients and how much process has to happen for your body to intake that and to process that and to turn it into something you can use. And that comes out, when you're checking someone physically, that's going to come out as a physical response. So it's being aware of relationships, your physical state, and also what you're putting into your body. Those are all going to cause levels of stress. And the difference between sort of a quote unquote like healthy person and an unhealthy person is simply that body's ability to adapt. That's all it is. The difference between I'm lying in the hospital, I got pneumonia, we kill pneumonia bugs all the time, is your body strong enough to adapt to whatever is in the environment? And so your ability to overcome what's in your environment really is what health is. And that's why having proper nutrients, good activity, and regular chiropractic care, they work in concert to allow you to take on whatever it is. And even in a case where, let's say there is an accident and you have to have surgery, the difference in surgical outcomes between someone who is leading a fit and healthy lifestyle or someone who is a chronic smoker, the outcomes are, double-digit percentage differences because that body is able to repair tissue better. It has resources regarding vitamins and nutrients, and also, the heart rate's used to going up. So it's not new territory, which is a wonderful thing to kind of be aware of. And and keep in mind, there is sort of no perfect, it's a dynamic and fluid thing, but I mean, you're not going to be able to avoid stress, like I said, unless, you run off and live in the forest for a while. But, so it's a universal part of our lives, and whether, and sort of your lifestyle habits are going to dictate whether that stress is something that depletes your health and reduces your quality of life, or it's something that you can handle and sail through. And it's the choices that comes down to. So the choice of the food, the exercise, and having quality chiropractic care on a regular basis is going to allow your body to really integrate whatever life throws at you, and really will allow you to best prepare yourself for whatever's coming around the corner. So whether you are having your first child, starting, you have a dissertation that you have to do, you want to run a half marathon for the first time, you want to have like a personal best at the gym, anything that's going to be new to your body, it's always best to take a bit of a running start at that by having obviously like the physical and the food, but really the mental side of it as well. And they make wonderful apps these days for mindfulness and also even basic meditation. If that isn't your thing, if you have some time for yourself each day that you can find, whether it's 15 to 20 minutes where you can really just focus on something that isn't work-based, that isn't family-based, that you enjoy, something that's engaging to you, that biochemically alters your state. And it actually, by being in a relaxed place, even just once a day, it's going to give you more energy for when you have to work or when you have to chase that new goal. And I think that's something that people don't understand, that taking a little bit of time off will actually make them more productive, because you will have more energy for yourself and you will be less stressed, breaking that cycle of stress and, oh man, it's getting me down, like it kind of builds up gradually. Just reset it, and being able to find that daily or even in your week. Don't kind of push through for an entire semester and then take a week off. Take an hour on Saturday morning, take an evening, go dance on Tuesday night, or something that is going to be enjoyable and ideally physical, or something that's an outlet. And that will do wonders. That will do wonders for breaking up that cycle. And that's really what it's all about, is changing your body's biochemistry and making some healthy choices for yourself. So yeah, that's about all I have to say on stress. I think hopefully there's some new information for you guys. Once again, thank you to Dr. Klesko for having me on the Zoom meeting. I really enjoyed it. Cheers.
Oh, Scott, thanks very much. That was really good. I picked up a lot of things, and my favorite one is the proactive statement, the not being just in front of it physically with taking care of yourself, chiropractic, exercise, and nutrition, but being mentally prepared for it before stepping into any activity. Because also, like you said, is that there's certain things we're prepared for that are still stressful, but certain things that we don't see coming that are going to get us, right? And if we have that preparedness to meditate or spend that time just kind of zoning out, or whatever it is, just doing something that you love, that can really kick us forward, which is I don't know if a lot of people know that. So that's good. No, thank you very much for that. That's great. So I'm going to turn things to a little bit heavier stuff, because I want to talk about a little of something that means a lot to me, and I'm gonna go a little bit nerdy on you here, but the reason why I do so is because it is important. I truly believe that understanding what is happening and why it's happening in your body allows you to perceive it in a way that you can be proactive, that you can have that running start and that head start and be preventative. So I'm going to talk about stress at the cellular level. And stress at the cellular level is simply known as oxidative stress. So it's not anything new. It's not anything fancy. It's something that literally happens every single second. For every breath we take, every step we take, this is happening at all times. And it's a completely natural process. And all it is as we burn energy and as we use our bodies, we create damage. And that damage is called free radicals. And what free radicals do is they steal pieces of the material around them. And in turn, those pieces steal pieces. And it creates this chain reaction that ultimately results in disease. And these stresses come from everywhere. And what we just talked about, it comes from running. It comes from radiation we receive, the pollution in the air. It comes from direct trauma. It comes from the crappy food that we may be putting into our bodies. It also comes from all the chemicals that we're exposed to, from things we don't think of, such as toothpaste, deodorant, skin moisturizer, shampoo, conditioner, all those little things that we expose ourselves to every single day, cleaners. But also, just as importantly, if not the most important, the emotional stress that we get to. So this stress, when unchecked, will create inflammation. And this inflammation is at the root of pretty much every disease we know of, especially the two biggest killers in our society, which are cancer and heart disease. They've shown here, proven it, that those that have better heart health and are not exposed or predisposed to cancer have less levels of inflammation in their body. And this inflammation, like I just said, is at the root of pretty much every common disease that we know of. So only thing that stops this process and stops free radicals before they can create the damage that results in inflammation are antioxidants. And antioxidants are kind of a unique substance. They only can be found in fruits and vegetables and from the sun. These are only two places we can get. We cannot manufacture it outside of them. So what Dr. Maybank was talking about, really, really important, was strictly that we need to take care of ourselves proactively, and nutrition is a really big factor in that. So I would like to invite now Jennifer Evans, if you could unmute, please. And she's going to talk a little bit about her story and why she does what she does.
Hi, everybody. Thanks for having me on today. I just want to start my background. I'm a registered nurse, and I've been in the healthcare field for about 10 years now. So I've seen a lot of stuff. I've worked in the community, and I also work in hospital settings now. I'm a transition coordinator, so I work with people discharging them safely home. And what I'm seeing is there's a lot of pharmaceutical use. A lot of people are on many pharmaceuticals and different drugs and medications because they have so many different diseases, and a lot of them are chronic, and so many can actually be preventable and even reversible. So for me, I practice least invasive first. That's kind of what I value in my practice as a healthcare professional, because I do believe there's a time and a place, like the guys were saying, for, say, surgery, or if you get in a car accident, you need to go to the emergency department. Absolutely. You need medications, and you need to get things looked at a medical level. What I'm seeing, though, unfortunately, nutrition, I don't think it's being emphasized and the importance of it as much as it should be. Like I say, least invasive. I think putting food in your mouth is pretty simple. So I'm going to just keep it pretty simple and bring it back, because I just like to keep things simple and look at maybe nature, bring it back to like that kind of level. So as a society, we think eating healthy, it depends. We're looking at things for the healthy plate. If you look at it, the majority of the plate should be vegetables or produce, and fruit, vegetables. And I think the servings now, we're up to 7 to 13 servings daily, recommended adults. And if you're an athlete, you need even more than that. I'd probably say 15, because like what Brett was mentioning, when your body as an athlete and you're just metabolizing more, you're breaking more down at a cellular level. So you're going to need more produce or the antioxidants from the produce to help repair. And so we're living in a society where it's quite processed. Everything is like a food-like substance. So with supplementation, if you're looking at, say, like a supplement label versus a nutrition label, we really need to be eating more produce and putting whole foods into our body. So whole food is just something that's not processed. It's the least, just in natural form. So if you're looking like an apple, it's from a tree, it's from a plant, it comes off the vine. And this is a great slide because it shows, this is just one page of about 12 or 13 of what the ingredients are in an apple of phytonutrients. And so that's just the chemicals or the nutrients inside of an apple that are nutritious, and antioxidants are included. So supplementation, people are nervous about isolated vitamins and minerals. And this is why I recommend Juice Plus. It's the next best thing to fruits and vegetables. And what it is actually 30 raw, vine ripened, and whole fruits, vegetables, berries, and grains that are put into a capsule, into a form, because they're juiced and then they are pulped, so that most of the water, which fruits and vegetables, produce is mostly water, just like a human body has a lot of water in it. They can juice it and then put it into a capsule form so that you can easily ingest it. And so this is food. It has a nutrition, has a food label. Unfortunately, we're not eating enough, like I was saying, so this is something where I can bridge. I'm not a gorilla, and if you are able to eat about 10 servings of fruits and vegetables every day, let me know. But I like this because I'm still eating the most produce that I can, but I can't actually eat as much as the recommendations are because of the excess oxidative stress that's happening in our bodies compared to 50 years ago. So I like the products non-GMO, so there's no genetic modification in the produce. The NSF certification is extremely important because it's a third party that is coming in to Juice Plus unannounced, and then they're testing what's in the product is actually in the product. And just the ingredient list that we had up is exactly what's in it. The research, as a healthcare professional, I practice evidence-based practice, so there better be some research on it that's showing that it's getting into the bloodstream. So Juice Plus has been studied throughout the world the past 20 years. Several studies are showing that it's getting into the blood. It's called bioavailability, and it's doing good things. Some of the research is showing that there's cardiac, circulatory improvement. There's skin health. The skin is, there's more capillaries are going, like there's more blood flowing. So then if you see someone, their skin, it could be clearer, or I know people who have taken it and their eczema has cleared up. There's research on inflammation. And so many diseases, especially chronic, are related to the inflammatory response. There's immune system research, and the research actually has to do with registered nurses who were taking Juice Plus in a hospital setting versus nurses who weren't taking it, and there was a placebo. So this is high quality research done in universities and hospitals throughout the world, like I was saying. So there's research, individuals, and it's double blind, peer reviewed. So the individuals don't even know if they're getting the placebo or the Juice Plus. And then they have the results at the end, and they're publishing the studies, whether it's positive or negative. And the 35 research studies that we have so far have all been positive. But in my head, that just makes sense because it's fruits and vegetables, and it's just nature. And so your body's recognizing Juice Plus like it would fruits and vegetables because that's what it is. I have some people say that they eat a lot of fruits and veg, and I say that's awesome, please let me know how you do it. But on just the difference with Juice Plus, the three kind of main things is that you're eating the whole food. They're putting all of it in, including the peels and like the pits. And so an orange, most of the vitamin C is actually in the peel. And I don't know a lot of people that actually eat the peel. Second thing is that it's vine ripened. I mentioned that right at the beginning. And so a lot of our produce in the grocery stores is shipped thousands of miles from all over the world. And so the nutrition isn't there. And that's why we have to eat more servings. It's lacking in nutrition. Juice Plus is picked at the peak of ripeness. They don't care what it looks like because they're going to juice it and pulp it anyways. And so when you see that mushy tomato, they don't want that at the grocery store, but then it's not nutritious. And the new kind of research is on synergy. Usually people are eating a banana or an orange or an apple, not a huge variety, and they're not eating different fruits and vegetables all at once. Juice Plus, when you're ingesting it, you're getting 30 different fruits and veg all at once. And that picture at the beginning was just with the phytonutrients from an apple. Can you imagine all the phytonutrients from 30 different fruits and vegetables when you're ingesting it all at the same time? So the child health study is really neat because it's another study that they're doing that's showing the children that are getting free Juice Plus, because what I'm seeing in the hospital, absolutely, we're younger and younger and we're getting sicker and sicker. So a company that can provide free nutrition for children is absolutely amazing. And look at the results. They're noticing that when kids are eating the Juice Plus, it's working like a catalyst, and they're missing less days of school. They're eating more fruits and vegetables, and that's what we want anyways. They're consuming less processed food. So then you're leading a healthier lifestyle, and then we don't have to see you in the hospital or at the doctor's office, prescribe medications. Like children on medications, that's a common thing. And even when I started 10 years ago, I noticed it started on the increase. And personally, when you're eating more pharmaceuticals, there's going to be more side effects. So if we can get rid of that, why not, right? Least invasive first. I also really every day I'm eating the Juice Plus Complete, which again, it's more whole foods based. That's what I love about. There's more fruits and vegetables on top in this Complete, and it's called Complete because it's high in fiber as well. And I'm not gonna lie, we see a lot of people in the emergency room for issues like constipation, and when you're constipated, that's a symptom showing that there's something else going on inside of your body. So we need to get more, and you can get more fruits and vegetables into a smoothie. Throw this in, tastes like vanilla or chocolate, and you're getting more whole, vine ripened fruits, vegetables, and berries inside your body again. And this one is the score of 1.0 is the only plant protein ever to achieve this rating. So it's actually getting absorbed and bioavailable again. Tower Garden is a vertical aeroponic gardening system that has a pump at the bottom, water, and it's self-sustaining. You just plug it in. It's on a pump and a timer, and the water trickles all the way up, and then it's aeroponics because it's suspended in air with the water trickling down, and you just have to add nutrients, and they're created from earth and water minerals. So again, you're able to grow your own fruits and vegetables year round, which is amazing. And in Canada, we have lights. So here's some pictures that are showing growth from week 1, and each one that's getting more is about a week apart. And so I've been doing aeroponics for about 2 years now. And Dr. Klesko and I were able to implement them into some schools a few years ago. And so this is a huge passion of mine because we're talking with children again, the next generation, on how to garden, where your food comes from, and how to grow your own fruits and vegetables all year round.
Great. Thank you, Jenna.
I'm just going to quickly end just with maybe a little bit about my story because I think it's really important. My background, I'm quite athletic. I was a dancer for many years myself and a professional cheerleader and did many different sports. So for me, my mom was always cooking our meals. So I thought I was healthy, like I was doing all the right things. Unfortunately, I was diagnosed with a condition, an inflammatory condition in my teen years. So I think it's interesting. I'm looking at the stress, listening to the stress talk, and I was diagnosed with irritable bowel syndrome, which is just an inflammatory condition because they couldn't pinpoint what was going on in my body. I was just having symptoms all the time. And then I noticed when I started going to university, I was diagnosed with, and then when I started working as a registered nurse, I had a retinal detachment. So, and then a back injury a few years later. So I'm just noticing these things that were happening inside to start there. But I could have been a poster child for health, but what was actually happening inside my body at a cellular level with oxidative stress wasn't showing that. I was having symptoms, and it was trying to tell me there was something going on inside of my body. So a close friend of mine introduced me to Juice Plus, and just tweaking my diet a little and just adding organic and just more vine ripened produce and just making a conscious effort to really be consistent. And since I've been consistent with that, honestly, doing more yoga and chiropractic and nutrition, just making it a big priority, I haven't had any symptoms since I started taking Juice Plus about 2.5 years ago. So for me, that just makes sense. You can't pay me enough not to take it. And it's just something, the research, I just back it up because of the research. It's just clear. It's getting into my blood and doing good things. So that's why I'm so passionate about prevention. And as a registered nurse, it's important that I educate, and we all work together actually in making it a priority, because we don't want to see people in the hospital for things that can actually be prevented. And we don't want to put people on medications that they don't really need.
I agree. That's great. Thank you very much. Any last words in there, Jenna?
Everyone take 2 deep breaths. It feels so good.
Yeah, actually, yeah. All right. So, no, that's great. Thank you very much again. So I'm gonna close things up here. And I'm just going to talk about something I always try to end conversations with, and that's whether this be to a friend or a patient, is I always talk about that your health is in your hands. You are the proponent of your health. And what I mean by that is that it doesn't mean you have to change everything right now all at once. I always promote the one simple change, and what that's going to be is you pick something small, whether it be something Dr. Maybank talked about with maybe just picking that 20-minute hobby a day, or taking that deep breath, or whatever it is where you can just mentally calm yourself down. If it's maybe something to do with your eating habits, like maybe one more glass of water a day, or cut out those chips or something like that, but one small thing at a time. And what you want to do is make sure that you can carry these forward. This isn't a diet. This isn't a short-term thing. These are things that you want to do for the long term. So like I said, make choices that carry through for the rest of your life. And then always remember is that what you put in is what you get out. Your health is directly related to how much time you spend properly affecting, in a positive way, your health. A great quote by Bruce Lee is that long-term consistency trumps short-term intensity. So yeah, we've probably seen a lot of those things like the 10-day shreds, which are great because they're kickstarters. They are the things that get you going. But in the end, you better be able to do these things long-term, because that's what's truly can affect your life in a positive way. A quote that I like to live by, especially as a chiropractor and as a true healthcare professional, was that the doctor of the future will give no medicine, but will entrust his patients in the care of the human frame, in diet, and in the cause and prevention of disease. Now, this is a long time ago that this was said, but it doesn't hold any less value. It's something I truly believe, that prevention is the key to stopping diseases before they come on. So I always end with one statement about the two people. The two types of people on the planet are the people that they'll see a problem with their habits. They'll see a hole in what they're doing. They'll see something that they can change for the better. And what they'll do is they will make that change. They'll take it upon themselves to go out of their way to make that change. And they will be better immediately because of it. The other type of people are the people that wait for something bad to happen to them or somebody they love around them. Now, if we've all somewhere in our life have known something bad health-wise that happened to somebody that we care about, and it stops and makes you think. But in healthcare, there's no such thing as making a positive change too early, but there is such a thing as waiting until it's too late. These people, I know actually there was a chiropractor a few years back that he was 40 years old. He had a massive heart attack, and he died right there. He left 4 small kids behind. And these things happen. And we have to be proactive. We have to be preventative, because if we know in 10 years something bad is going to happen to us, but if we make the change now, that won't change it, then we better be making that change. So that's why for me as a chiropractor in my practice, I promote Juice Plus so heavily, because it helps bridge that gap between what we should be doing and what we aren't actually doing. And what we should be doing is getting more stuff into us, like fruits and vegetables, which seems to be across the board the downfall. It's easy to take in more water. It's easy to maybe get outside and go for a 20-minute walk, but getting 7 to 13, 9 to 13 servings a day, every day, is a task. So that's why we promote one small change. Juice Plus is an easy change. So I'd like to thank everybody for coming out, especially our 2 guests, Dr. Scott Maybank and Jennifer Evans, Nurse Jennifer Evans. Thank you for spending your time with us tonight, guys. We try to do these every month with different topics and maybe different professionals, unless everybody really liked who was talking tonight, and then definitely send us your requests, because hey, maybe Scott will be sending you another topic to go hard on for next month or something. But either way, we do these every month, the first Wednesday at 8 p.m. Mountain Time. So stay tuned for later. And once again, thank you, everybody.